Wait a minute. Oh my gosh. No way. How did I forget this? I forgot to put data and research and statistics in my book. It's a sales book. Oh my gosh. Salespeople are totally numbers people. Just kidding. I did that on purpose. I left out a bunch of stats and data from Proud to Sell because I wanted to focus more on the emotional side. We intuitively know, if you've worked in sales for longer than a week, that there's a negative stigma out there about sales. And it's very well deserved. Unfortunately, my goal here is to change the narrative, overcome that stigma, and bring true dignity back to the salesperson and the customer, because they both lose it when they choose to take these aggressive approaches. So the two sources that I'm citing in an article that I just posted on my website and LinkedIn are from both Gallup and from Rutgers Business School. The Gallup piece simply ranks professions such as salespeople, nurses, doctors, engineers, and politicians based on their level of perceived trust by consumers. And no surprise there, salespeople are right down there with politicians. Um, Up at the top, you'll find engineers, doctors, nurses, those who are seen as having a noble profession that are helping society. All right. And then the Rutgers study was really interesting. I took a lot from that because it talks about these aggressive tactics and how they leave clients feeling, but it also gives us some guidance on how we should actually treat clients in these sales interactions. And they call that the positive side of that, they refer to as directive, meaning you're guiding the customer along to a successful transaction that they're not going to have buyer's remorse over, and have an end up with a negative uh, feeling about that transaction, thinking, oh my gosh, Craig sold me, this service, and I'm really unhappy with it. He pressured me. I could tell he just wanted to make a sale and everything like that. That's what we don't want to happen. Rather, they talk about ways to really up your game when it comes to questions. I say this all the time, but to be a great salesperson, you need to have inherent interest and a genuine uh, concern for these people, for these customers. You don't just want to make a sale. That sounds obvious, but the genuine interest, I'm still not sure. Maybe there should be a study done on this. If that's something that can be taught, can you take somebody who has a personality which is inherently selfish and egocentric and instill in them this genuine curiosity and care for the customer? The jury's still out on that one. I feel like I do have a genuine care and concern for people and customers, and that's appreciated. That's the feedback I get. But the Rutgers study as well as the Gallup poll are just two hard sources of data that you can go research. You can read my articles, and then you can look at those citations to see for yourself the primary source, and just understand. Again, I wrote this to try to help people understand, especially sales folks, why there's a negative perception. Why, when you walk into meet with the client for the first time or the third time, there's a vibe, right? Like there's an instant barrier that we have to overcome that has nothing to do with our price, the product, the client's needs. It's just overcoming that trust deficit that just exists before we ever pick up the phone or knock on the door. So go check out my articles at proudtosell.net or over on my LinkedIn group, Proud to Sell, and let me know what you think. What other insights are there? Do you find these sources to be credible and consistent with what you believe to be the reputation of sales, or do you think they're BS and think that other sources or a whole different narrative exists and maybe there isn't a negative stigma about sales? If that's the case, I'd love to know about that. So, all right, that's it for right now. Be proud.